Hey guys, today I'm out here in Los Angeles and Infiniti has pulled the covers off of the all-new QX80, their full-size luxury SUV that certainly has the Cadillac Escalade and the Lincoln Navigator squarely in its sights. But you could also cross-shop this against a Mercedes-Benz GLS or a BMW X7 if you wanted a bit more room in the back for passengers. The first thing we should do is just take a look around the QX80. The design is instantly recognizable as a QX80 and as an Infiniti, but also definitely more modern than the outgoing version. Instead of the sort of puckerfish look up front, we find this much more modern design here with the new Infiniti logo. This is a 3D Infinite Road logo. That's what that looks like right there. And I really appreciate the fact that all of the angles on the vehicle seem to really mimic that angle right there in the Infiniti logo. It helps tie the design together. In addition to that striking grille, we also find the satin chrome around the vehicle, the dark chrome up front here because this is the autograph trim. In the same recent trend we find in other vehicles, we have daytime running lamps and turn signals up top, headlights down below, and then a functional aero vent right there just below the headlights. That helps relieve pressure up front, improving aerodynamics and fuel economy. And it also has a slight brake cooling effect up front as well. You'll notice lots and lots of cooling because under the hood we find the most powerful engine Infiniti has ever produced. Under here we find an all-new 3.5-liter twin-turbo V6. It produces 450 horsepower and over 500 pound-feet of torque. That's more than 100 pound-feet of torque more than the outgoing V8, while also giving you significantly better fuel economy. It's mated to the new Infiniti 9-speed automatic transmission that we've seen in a few other models, but of course tuned specifically for the larger dimensions of the QX80. And it's going to allow this to tow up to 8,500 pounds. That's not quite as much as we find in the new Lexus GX, but it is also SAE certified. Moving around to the side, we find that distinctive QX80 styling that I've always liked, that definitely boxy bread van look behind with the big, bold front end. Now, in case you're wondering, these vents over here on the front quarter panels, those are fully functional on both sides. The 22-inch wheels on this model are not the largest Infiniti has ever used, but they are definitely very, very big. The slammed look up front is due to this model having the adaptive air suspension that is new for the QX80. In previous generations, there was a load leveling rear air suspension, but this is the first model to receive a 4-corner air suspension with adaptive dampers as well. So not only will it be able to adjust the ride height by approximately 5 inches, it'll also give you enhanced ride and handling capabilities as well. Since this is the autograph model, we have that autograph logo emblazoned right there on that satin dark chrome strip running right across the body. I like the fact that they gave this that satin look, but the shiny look up front really helps differentiate the vehicle a little bit more. No modern SUV would be complete without lots of LEDs, so we find over 300 in this rear LED light bar, and of course they animate when you turn the vehicle on and off, just as you'd expect in a luxury vehicle. The design is again instantly recognizable as an Infiniti, but more modern than the outgoing QX80. Below that, of course, you'd find the hitch receiver tucked up under that cover right there, and they went for a really clean rear bumper look. Rather than directly imitating exhaust tips, but not having real ones, we find these sort of cutouts here. It's actually kind of similar to what we find on the QX60, but thankfully different than what we find on modern Audis, where we find those definitely exhaust tip looking openings, but no actual exhaust gas flowing through them. Now, in case you're wondering, the light animation happens up front as well. So if I unlock the vehicle, you can see that those lights progress there. And then we get the welcome lighting right there, puddle lamps just under the rear doors and the front doors. Since the most important changes happen inside, let's take a deeper dive into that. We have an all-new interior design and all-new seats for the first, second, and third row passengers. You'll notice that they're more adjustable than before. They also feature seat massage, not just for the front seat passengers, but also for the second row passengers, assuming, of course, you choose the right trim level. Unlike the new Lexus GX, which has suddenly dropped wood trim from the conversation, Infiniti has doubled down on that, giving us even more wood on the inside, and definitely some intricate designs as far as the woodwork goes. We have some laser cut shapes in the wood, so you can see that that laser cutting very much matches the angles going on the front of the vehicle, and then that wood grain shines through along with the ambient lighting. Lots of premium and stitched materials going on the doors. And that's not just the front door, that's also the back doors. Really the only door assembly difference is that we find harder injection molded plastics down there at the bottom of the rear doors to help improve durability. But you see that we have very much the same seat controls over here on the second row. And then for the seat massage and the 4-way adjustable lumbar support, those controls are over there on that passenger LCD. If you have young children in forward-facing child seats, this feature is going to be really handy. This is the only entry in this segment that allows you to tilt and slide the second row seats forward while a child seat is latch anchored into place. It's not quite as fast as the manual mechanisms we find in the QX60, but it is really unique in the segment in that it allows you to get back there into the third row considerably easier. Now, obviously, that's not going to work if you have kids in rear-facing child seats or infant seats, but that's still a really practical touch. And then, of course, we have the third row seats themselves. 3 seats back there, 1 set of latch anchors over there on that side. For me, at least, there's plenty of headroom back here in the third row, although you will find a little bit more room in something like the Wagoneer. Nice touch is that third row passengers also get heated seats and air vents well integrated into the ceiling. I do prefer a ceiling air vent to those ones that are tucked away on the pillar. If you're torn between the QX60 and the QX80, you should know that these rear seats are a little bit larger, a little bit more thickly padded, and they're a little bit higher off the ground as well, definitely improving rear seat comfort. How's the legroom? Well, with this third row seat moved all the way back at its tracks, you can see that my knees are almost touching that seat back, but I have a ton of room just in front of that for the second row. The second row seats are logically more comfortable, especially since I'm currently getting a massage, but one thing I found odd, the seat bottom cushion does not adjust for tilt. It's just at one particular level. That may have something to do with the fact that these seats move for the child seats, but of course, the rest of the seat is quite adjustable. If we go down to the touchscreen controller that's between the seats, you can see I can adjust forward and backward the seat bottom cushion. I can also adjust the 4-way lumbar support. Yes, we do have that back here. The seat back there, and then I can also go back to the home screen here and slide over and adjust the rear seat massage. Kind of a handy feature. 2 big cup holders are happening just in front of that, and then of course lots of storage as well because we have this enormous center console. This is of course the 7-passenger version of the QX80. The center console is nice and large because the QX80 is a full-size SUV, of course. We get lots of storage room underneath that armrest and then under the console as well. It's a bit difficult to show you, but there's actually a storage bin down there. And then we have cup holders up front. You can get the QX80 as either a 7 or an 8-passenger vehicle. So you can get a seat here or you can get the center console area. And then we always get those 3 seats way back there in that third row. Unlike some of the European competition, this doesn't have 4-zone climate control. There's just 1/3 zone right there for the rear passengers, but it does have infrared sensors, so it can actually detect how hot the passengers are and help adjust the climate control accordingly. Right here you can see I have tons and tons of legroom with that front seat adjuster for me at 6 feet tall and the second row seats moved all the way back. So you could very easily put 3 6-foot-tall people, one right in front of the other in here. One odd thing that we don't find in any model, however, rear sunshades. Now we have to look at the front of the QX80 because this is a pretty massive departure from the previous generation. I'm just going to give you an overview here and then we'll take a look at the details individually. Now let's get to the details. One of the first things I noticed is that we get an all-new Infiniti key. It certainly looks more premium than before. I might have noticed the key first, but I'm sure a lot of you noticed these absolutely enormous screens in the dashboard first. These are just over 14 inches each, so this is by far the biggest LCD instrument cluster in the segment, and certainly one of the largest infotainment screens in the dashboard in the segment. And they didn't just tack them onto the dash tablet style. The dashboard actually builds up right there, stitched upper section of the dashboard, and then we have these 2 huge screens basically at the same plane. They didn't also just give us bigger screens and the same software. This is a significant software change for Infiniti. You can see that CarPlay uses that little section of the display right there. When I go to the main menu, you'll notice a very different software package than we had before. The software uses the complete suite of Google automotive systems, including voice commands. Take me to the Hollywood sign.
Okay. Hollywood sign.
Sure, why not?
Here we go.
There we go. You can also control the climate control, vehicle settings, things like that. Of course, you can swap back and forth to CarPlay because we have those static options down there across the bottom of the screen. And then we have these individual widgets. A lot of this is very configurable. And as you can see, it's also very snappy. You can also download apps from the Android store, or sorry, from the Google store. You can see you can just download those from the Play Store. We have Spotify, things like that right there. And we have an all-new high-definition camera system, which is really intriguing. And that's probably the biggest reason to get the big screens over the competition that has the smaller ones. You have lots and lots of different camera views around the vehicle, including a huge 170-degree widescreen view right there. And if I hit that expand button, something even cooler happens. It'll actually use both screens for that camera display. So if you're in a crowded junction and you really want to see around the corner, see whether Jimmy's on his bicycle or something like that, you can click that particular option. We also have an invisible hood view. If the vehicle was in motion, it would actually be showing you what's underneath the vehicle instead of that black square. The white square, that's actually the white square the vehicle is sitting on. We also have some 360-degree camera views, some blind spot views, some, easy parking views so you can see where those parking lot headstones are, etc. It's definitely a really interesting look. Then over here for the LCD instrument cluster, this is, it has that camera view, but other than that, it's kind of your basic display here. The display theme is customizable. We get 3 different layouts: elegant, this enhanced view right there, and then we get a dynamic view with these sort of C-shaped gauges on the side. Now down here you may notice that on some camera angles there are these sort of devil eyes looking at you. That's part of the driver monitoring system because this has Infiniti's hands-off-the-wheel Pro Pilot driving assist system. This is very similar to Cadillac Super Cruise in that it's an eyes-on-the-road driver paying attention, but hands completely off the steering wheel. So if you just want to drive down the road, hands off the wheel, you can definitely do that. If you want to know how this drives, you can check out my Nissan Ariya video. It's essentially the same technology now working its way down to different Infiniti models. You'll engage it with the button over there on the steering wheel. These are a combination of touch and physical controls, so this entire button module actually moves when you press it, and it knows what you pressed by those little button options there. I do have to say that this does appear to show fingerprints somewhat easily. I'm not a big fan of the piano black there, but I do love the two-tone leather-wrapped steering wheel, and this new Infiniti steering wheel design with that flat grip right there really has an elegant look to it. Also really elegant, really the rest of the dashboard. We find lots and lots of leather, real wood trim up here, ambient lighting going on right there. This whole little stripey thing and the Infiniti logo, that's all illuminated. And then we find that real wood trim over there on the front doors. It's a really good combination, and I do like this red and black interior. Let me know what you think about that. Let's go ahead and check out the lower portion of the dashboard. That's all soft touch materials. And then we have a big bin-style glove compartment there. And most of the front doors, they're also made from soft touch materials, except for the very bottom part of the door that's still a hard plastic down there. Now, moving to the center console, we find this climate control screen right here. Sorry for the glare. This is climate control and drive mode. So I hit that mode button over there. Sorry, my fingers are dry, and it turns out you actually have to touch the option, and then you get haptic feedback for the particular options. Once I realized that, turns out it's actually pretty snappy. So we have the different drive mode settings here. We can adjust the height of the suspension system, adjust the front climate control, the rear climate control, all that jazz going on there. We then have push button shifters for the transmission. Not my favorite, but definitely easy to use. We have a button there for the air suspension to put it in auto mode, a button for the camera system. I like the fact that there is a direct access button for that. And then we have a large storage area underneath that center console because, again, it is pretty large. In here we have a wireless charging mat, USB inputs, and then big cup holders there on the side, even bigger storage area behind. This one, of course, has the cool box, so you can air condition that little spot. My only word of caution on this interior is the amount of piano black that we find there. I think it looks really elegant now, but what will it look like in 5 years? I don't know yet. Some cars piano black scratches pretty easily, but other cars don't. And you'll notice we do have a reasonable amount here in the center console. If you're looking to get your hands on the new QX80, these are going to be on Infiniti dealer lots this summer. So you might want to reach out to your Infiniti dealer right away if you want to be one of the first ones to get the new QX80 in your driveway. Be prepared, however, to spend a decent amount more than last year's QX80, as you'd expect with a vehicle with a ton more standard features on it. The pure trim is going to start at $82,450 plus, of course, destination, and $3,100 if you want four-wheel drive. The Luxe model, $89,550. The sensory trim is going to give you a lot of what you saw in this model at $100,645, and if you want everything, a fully loaded model like this autograph trim, that's going to be $110,595. That may sound pricey to some folks that were used to last year's pricing lineup on the QX80, but honestly, it's right in line with the competition because a Grand Wagoneer, that will actually get significantly more expensive. And I'm not talking about the long wheelbase Grand Wagoneer, a Lexus LX, it's right in this price range as well. And I think Infiniti has done exactly what they needed to do in order to justify that price tag. The interior is definitely one of the best in the segment. I think it actually exceeds my expectations as far as this compared to the Lexus LX. It is certainly significantly nicer than the new Lexus GX. The new Lexus GX interior, it's actually kind of disappointing. It's the first Lexus in quite some time that does not have real wood at all in any trim, regardless of how much you're willing to pay. But you'll find a ton of real tree inside the Infiniti here. If you want even more wood, even more leather, and of course a passenger screen, you can pay $120,000 over there at your Jeep dealer, but I think for a lot of folks that are interested in a little bit more reliability and are interested in twin turbo power, you might want to take a look at the QX80. I think the engine is probably the most significant change aside from the interior, and I'm really excited to see how this drives. Stay tuned for that video coming up this summer, but expect this to not just be the most efficient QX80, but also the quickest QX80 that they've ever built. And hopefully that engine finds its way into other Infinitis at some point soon. See all of you later.